record this. So just as a reminder to everyone, we typically do provide the recordings of the videos. They're available for all of you to access within about 24 hours. And Stephen will be sharing with everybody also the survey to get feedback on the presentation. And then also, if we have questions, I think probably, Stephen, I don't know if you've already made this announcement, but we'll put them in the chat. Is that correct?
Yes, we'll put them in the chat and we'll address them whenever we can with Max.
Okay, so welcome, Max. Thank you, Stephen. Max, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It's been a crazy busy couple of weeks, but we've made it through and things are going well, life of entrepreneurs. but doing good. We're looking forward to this workshop. You want to tell everybody a little bit about what's in store for us today?
Yeah, absolutely. So the name is Max. If you haven't seen one of my little workshops here before, I love presenting here. First place I ever presented, and I'm doing a lot more here. It's a whole lot of fun. Today I run a little live show on the internet called Entrepreneur, where I build little startups, and it's a live show, and that's the topic of today's thing. We're doing podcasting and live streams and how that works, how you can get started, some tool sets that make it easier, and just general things to be aware of when it comes to that format of media. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited. And I'm used to people yelling at me in the chat. So if anybody has any questions at any point about anything or something doesn't make sense or literally anything, just pop it in the chat. I'll see it and I'll answer it as soon as I humanly can.
And honestly, everyone, he's not kidding. He's good about monitoring the chat while he goes. So if you have a question, just pop it in there and we'll be good. We'll get it answered. So good.
Heck yeah. Awesome. Cool. So yeah. I'll just get started if we're ready to do that.
We're ready. It's all you.
Sweet. So a little bit more about just kind of my experience. I run the live show. I build little companies on a live stream, so I have to share my screen. I green screen myself into the corner. I have a big green screen that I pull over. I just have this little microphone, as you can kind of see here. I have a DSLR setup. I've gone a little bit ham with the whole live streaming setup. Everybody thinks you need all that complicated equipment. You do not. I started live streaming with a little webcam just on my laptop, right? That works totally fine. You can start live streaming with your phone if you want. A lot of the tech, I'm not really going to go over much of the tech, but if people have questions on like microphones and cameras and things like that, I can answer a little bit, but honestly, it's not super important. Nobody that I know that really goes hard live streaming really cares too much about what they use. They like it if when they have the chance, they upgrade it. So it's a little bit higher quality, but not necessary to start, not necessary to make something really high quality. Don't worry about it so much. So that's not what I'm planning to talk about a ton. I'm talking about more tool sets, how to make live really successful for you, what it's useful for in terms of a marketing strategy. So yeah, just to give you kind of a rundown. But I do the live show. I overcomplicate it. It's a little bit weird, but I live stream to LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch. I love Twitch. Twitch is a really nice platform to live stream to. And Twitter a little bit as well. I'm able to stream to all of those at once. I'll show you the tools that let you do that. Started a year and a half ago, been building it up really slowly. The reason that live is valuable is because people can interact with you directly, right? Video is great, especially like if you're ever on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a big thing about video. They love video. And video content is powerful, right? You see a face. So if you're trying to sell something or you're trying to partner with people or just build a network, there's no better way than video. Just because people can see your face, they feel, if they watch a few of your videos, they feel they know you personally, without you actually hopping on a call or talking to them ever. That's one of the that's why people use video so much for selling things, right? It's why all ads that you see on your Instagram scroll feed are full of faces and people, and it's people talking, right? It's video. You can relate to it. You understand the person a bit better. And live streaming is even better. And podcasting is the same thing, right? Podcasting you usually do after the fact, but it's still that longer form, this is my voice or this is my face and my voice kind of format. Builds trust. It builds trust really, really quickly. If you listen to podcasters, you feel like you know them, right? If I watch YouTubers and I've listened to some of their live shows and I feel like I know them. So both are long form. That gets a little bit complicated because, the longer something is, the less people are going to watch. But you can keep it really high quality and you can allow people to interact with you closer. That's the baseline. Does anybody have any initial questions before I just jump into some some stuff, because this is going to be a little bit free form. I have a lot of stuff that I want to talk about, a lot of different tools that I want to talk about, and ways to start using live to sell products. But any questions right off the bat?
None for me.
Cool.
None for me.
That sounds great. Let's do it then. I'm going to share my screen. I'm just going to go over some of the tools that I use to make it really easy and accessible to live stream. So let me pull all this up. Oops, put the wrong thing. Move it out. Wonderful. Pull up the chat just in case. Gotta pull it up again. What the heck? There we go. Cool. Okay, I'm ready. So this is Restream. I love Restream. I use it. It's a free tool. All you really need to know is it's a free tool that lets you port your live stream. You can go live directly from Restream. It lets you port it to multiple places at once, right? That's helpful, right? If you want to stream to multiple places, or you have a spread out audience, kind of like I do. I have a small audience on YouTube, a small audience on Twitch, and a larger audience on LinkedIn, right? But I want to stream to all three of those platforms for sure. And Twitter, I'm trying to expand on Twitter, so I might as well put it there as well, right? I think multi-streaming is a really, really great thing. It just gives you, it allows you to kind of spread your wings out. And most people, their audience, if you're going to be creating content, you want to find the social media platform or the video platform or whatever it is, where your audience hangs out the most, right? Of course. If you're doing an entertainment kind of thing, right? If your content is entertainment, if it's just funny or interesting, then maybe Instagram or YouTube is your best bet, right? You can live stream to both of those. If your thing is more video game oriented or a little bit, maybe Twitch is kind of doing a little bit of an educational spin, YouTube and Twitch are probably both of your things, right? Both of those are huge gaming platforms. If you're into business or you're doing anything like business or educational in that kind of realm, like I am, I teach entrepreneurship. LinkedIn is super important for you, maybe even Twitter as well. So find the platform that's important to you, but you're not nailed down to one platform. Just keep that in mind. And I highly suggest multi-streaming, because like trying to live stream and do separate different things for all different platforms, that's, holy crap, that's a crazy amount of work. But Restream is great. It's a free tool to start. I love it. I have an affiliate link if anybody wants to like actually use it, but there's just a link to check it out if you want. I'm partnered with Restream. They're one of my sponsors. They're really, really great. And then the other tool that I use, like I'll give you an example of some of the stuff that I do. Let's go actually to, yeah. This is my little website. This is playing with Airtable. Cute little thumbnail. Yay. This is me, right? This is me. I green screen myself into the corner. I share my desktop backgrounds. Let me kind of full screen. You can see I have like Entrepreneur up at top. I have a little bar on the bottom. I've like teched it out, right? I've done all these sorts of different little things, and I have the chat bar over on the left, right? That's fun. And if you really want to go hard with that, and you don't want to just do like face-to-face kind of interaction or bringing guests on, which you can just do via Zoom or a couple of things like StreamYard. StreamYard is really good for bringing on guests. Actually, no, Restream does it too. Any of these work wonderfully, right? You can just go live directly from Restream. But if you really want to tech your stream out, you can do it via Streamlabs. That's just the stuff that I use for live streaming. Fun, right? Live streaming is still in its early kind of phase. Most people don't expect live streams as a typical form of media. It's still like, it's on the up. It's increasing and it's improving, just like podcasting is, but it is not like the most common thing, right? What's more common is podcasting. And there are tons of amazing tools to make it really, really easy to podcast. Francisco asked, what's my take on Twitter streaming? Twitter streaming actually, so from my experience, it works a little bit. Again, live streaming, not really a thing, especially when it comes to platforms like Twitter. Like YouTube, it makes sense, right? Twitch, it makes total sense. Everybody's on Twitch for live streams, right? Both of those, it makes total sense. When it comes to things like LinkedIn, a little bit less so, but it still works really nicely, right? I still have a really solid audience over on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn likes like 2-minute videos, right? That's kind of what really performs well on the platform. It's just shorter attention span. It's a feed, right? Whereas on YouTube, you're watching like 10-minute videos. On Twitch, you're watching for like an hour. Different expectations. When it comes to Twitter, not only are you on there for just like it's a feed, right? But it's a feed of like one sentence at a time. It's very, very low attention span. So as a result, I have had some success with it. I would say multi-stream there. Why the heck not? But be aware that it's probably not going to be your main platform. because it's not meant for that, right? It's meant for short attention span, get something out, see what people think, right? So when it comes to like a 3-hour live, like not like a 3-hour live stream, when it comes to a longer term live stream that's like 20 minutes or above, it's going to be harder to keep people's attention on a platform where they're expecting just to goof off, right? So that's kind of my take on it, but it's a good question. I would say, why not? Do it. People check it out. People have watched a bunch of stuff on my Twitter, and I have a very small Twitter following. It works, but it's probably not going to be your most successful platform. I would try to find something more like expect long form, right? If that makes sense. Yeah, I'm glad that was helpful. Steven asks, is a Restream paid plan worth it? I think so. I have a bias. I work with them. I can get you a discount if anybody wants to do a paid plan. But the usefulness of a paid plan, in my experience, is you get to stream to certain places that you wouldn't get to before. So if you have a really big Facebook page, right? I think it's Facebook pages. If you have a really big LinkedIn page, I think you can do it for LinkedIn pages, like LinkedIn company pages. That's usually really interesting. And you can like do it to like there's a really cool tool called yellowduck.tv, I think. Yeah, yellowduck.tv. You can stream to custom places with Restream Premium, which is nice, right? So I could actually stream to Instagram as well as a bunch of other places really easily, right? And you could add like these custom kind of things, like these little yellow duck things to stream to Instagram or other places if you do Restream Premium. So if you have like you want to get really creative with it, or you have like existing communities and existing places that you want to, that's not just a following, right? You're probably going to need Restream Premium. But if you have an awesome giant community already, I think it's a very, very good investment. So, and also if you just want to get creative with it, because Restream, it's a great tool, and being able to have that flexibility is nice. I'm upgrading to do the Instagram stuff, so I still have to experiment with it, but then I'm putting that on my list soon. So, but yeah, personal bias, I think it's absolutely worth it if it's part of your plan, right? But just to test it out, just use it for free. I wouldn't upgrade immediately. Test it out, see how it works. And if you want to add more on, you can always upgrade later. So, but yeah, that's my shtick. And this is what the dashboard looks like. I can go over Restream if anybody has more questions about it. How often do you post short clips or highlights of your long form content? Does this help build engagement? So actually, great question, Max. Hi, Max. I'm a fellow Max. I actually run an agency on that. So I have a small agency where I help people chop up live streams and podcasts into like smaller little bits. I don't do it a ton just because I tested some of my content. My content doesn't work really well for it because I usually have longer thoughts that last like 5 minutes. And so cutting that clip doesn't really make it that entertaining. But for almost every live stream that I've worked with and almost every live streamer that I talk to, it works beautifully. It is a great way to advertise. It's a great way to keep content flowing. On LinkedIn, it works especially well, and on other platforms, not. YouTube, it might, but you probably want to do like a highlight reel. I do highlight reels on YouTube all the time, and those are longer form, and that works really well with my content. LinkedIn, Instagram, other places, the short little clips, just chopping little bits up, works beautifully. And if anybody wants help with that, I have a small agency on it. Would love to help you. But yeah, I think it's a great thing to supplement the long form content, right? Because not everybody can check out your entire like 1.5 hour live stream, because mine's like 90 minutes every week. But if they want to learn or like find the highlights and learn like what they missed, a 2-minute video, popping it up there is a great thing, right? It makes your content more accessible, right? And it's interesting. A lot of podcasters do that as well. So I can't, is this one of it? Yes, this is it. So this is Repurpose Io. They do a pretty good job too. I think it's a little bit more automated in the way that they do it. My little agency, I don't know if I can compete with this large company, but we make it a little bit more custom because we're smaller. But it's the same exact concept, right? It's just you chop it up in little bits, and this works really well for podcasts. You do like the audio waveforms. I'm sure you've seen it, right? Audio waveforms of people, of your guests talking, and you have the captions kind of rolling along, right? Very common little structure. If anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, I'm happy to go and find one as an example. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. It absolutely helps build engagement, and it's a really, really easy way to use some of the content you're working so hard on in long form and make it into more content, because content production is really, really, really tiring. So yeah, exactly. This is exactly what I do. Mine is called Unnamed Agency. It's literally the same thing, but they pitch it better because they've been around longer. This is really cool. Repurpose or whatever works. This is unnamedagency.com. So yeah, love that. Super good question. So Restream, you sign up for Restream, you connect it to certain accounts, and then you can just go live. And we'll get into how to grow a live stream and how all that works a little bit later. But it's easy to start a live stream, right? Connected to certain social accounts, you click the live button and you talk. A little bit more intimidating and scary, and like there's preparation beyond that, but that's how it works, right? Podcasting is a little bit more complicated. You have to publish your podcast on certain platforms, right? But there are tools to make that really easy. So Transistor.fm, Anchor.fm are both really, really great platforms that I've seen commonly used for stuff like this. So basically what they do is built an uploading, recording, and editing tool so you can create and publish episodes easily. Yes, and they publish it distributes it to all the major listening apps, right? That's like people listen on very specific platforms for podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, what is it? There's something called like Splitter. I can't remember what one of the other podcast platforms is called. Spotify is also really common. I use Spotify for podcasts if I ever listen to them. Tools like Anchor. Spotify bought Anchor. Ooh, clever. That's very clever. That's a good acquisition. So that works really well. Transistor does the same thing, I believe. It helps you publish your podcast everywhere. Yes, we help you distribute. So there are tools that make it easy to publish to all these different places, because otherwise it's just overcomplicated, in my opinion. I would just use this. So I would use Transistor.fm or Anchor, and I'll drop these in the chat as well. I've never used these, but I know podcasters that use these, so I can recommend them in like good confidence. They're used very commonly, and I think it just takes the hassle out. You can always change stuff later. When you're starting content, reduce the barriers to entry. Don't make it complicated on yourself. Goof off, mess around, see what works, see what sticks. Even if you have a really professional brand, like I know like finance gurus that are like deep into like Wall Street and like education and like teaching kids to like make sure like to learn all these like critically important things about managing your finances and investing like properly. And like they're goofballs, and they hop on YouTube and they screw around, right? They make it look nice as best they can, but they fiddle through it, right? I had a consulting call with them, and they're like, we're just going to try it. I'm like, that's the spirit. Love it. And when it comes to podcasts, especially live streams, goof off. That's the only way that you're going to get comfortable enough to make it a consistent thing. And use tools like these, so it's just easier on you, so you can focus on making your content better. A little inspirational kind of fluff, but like that's my kind of perspective, right? Just get it out there, and then you can change it and make it better later. If you look at some of my original live streams, they were like 4 hours long and they were garbage, but they were fun. Blubbery. I don't know if I've seen Blubbery. Flexible Fools. Most flexible
Actually,
tools
it's
in podcasting.
Blueberry.
Blueberry. Oh, Blubber. I don't know why. Blubbery. Oh yeah, it makes more sense, but it looked like Blubbery to me. Both are cute names, but Blueberry, perfect, awesome. Hosting, statistics, PowerPlus plugin. Ooh, okay, interesting. A lot of customers. I like it. Okay, cool. Yeah, this looks like podcast production services. Great. Yes, this is great. Similar tool here. Yeah, perfect. Any tools like this that you can use it. Highly recommend. And I'm assuming PowerPress is like a WordPress plugin. Yes, it is. Okay, cool. I like it. That's very, very cool. Blueberry. Yeah, that makes sense. There's a little berry up here. What software would you recommend to record a podcast, both audio and visual? We've been using Zoom because it's the quickest option, but the output is usually not the best quality. Great question. When it comes to recording, these like Anchor, I know helps you record. In terms of recording audio, what was it? There's a tool that I've used before. Ooh, my friend used it. My friend Emily Kennedy uses it. I can't remember. She's so cool. I don't know for recording, which is a big gap. That is sad for me. I would say, I think these tools help you like record and then distribute. So feel free to use those. That works fine. Zoom is like audio is Zencaster. I think that might have been it. Oh, Martin, you're a king. Yes, this is what it was. This is what my friend used. Yes. This is what Emily used. So This is perfect for podcasting. This records high quality audio and you can manage things a little bit better. Zencastr is great. Thank you so much. Other tools, Anchor and Register, I think they help with that. But if you want to just exclusively record, I think Zencastr is a really good platform. For visual, this is fine if you're just talking to people. For live streaming though, like I talked about these before, Streamlabs helps you record everything to your own computer. If there's any visual aspect and you want to control the visual aspect of what you're doing, Streamlabs works fine. I record really, really high quality videos and I can put them up on YouTube. I download them on my machine. I send them to an editor. It works really, really beautifully. So in terms of video, if that's important to you, Streamlabs works fine. But I'm sure Zencastr is really highly focused to audio. So that sounds like a great one. Output is usually not the best quality. Yeah, but honestly, Zoom works. I mean, heck it, right? But yes, the video especially is definitely not the best quality. So Streamlabs works fine if you're doing video. Zencastr sounds great if you're doing audio. But it looks like Zencastr also has its own video kind of format. Cool. Great questions. Love to see it. Thank you. Great to know. Heck yeah. So cool. Awesome. Those are great. Now, in terms of distribution, now you have a podcast. Now you have some content, right? You have a thing. If it's a live stream, it's out there, right? It's on YouTube or wherever the heck. Maybe you recorded it. Maybe you're going to do some other stuff with it. Maybe you're going to break it up into little clips or highlight reels or distribute it, whatever. But now you got to do marketing. So one of my favorite tools in the world, and I think it's the cutest gosh dang thing in the world, is podcastpage.io. Love this thing. I'm going to reach out to these people and say, hey, can we work together somehow? Because I think it's just the cutest, nichest little tool. Podcastpage.io just helps you create a really, really quick website for your podcast. I think it's great for a really low fidelity prototype. Just get it up there. I'm pretty sure it's relatively cheap. Yeah, $8 per month. Beautiful. Unlimited podcast episodes, one podcast, custom domain. Simple, right? Very, very simple. I like it a lot. I like tools like this that make very specific things quicker and easier, right? So that's my personal bias. Yeah, this helps you put a little landing page or a little website for your podcast. Awesome. Another thing, and a website is the first step, right? It is not everything. We're going to go over kind of a marketing strategy in a little bit, but this just like gives you a place to push people, right? Because it's harder to push people to a Spotify link. It's a little bit harder to push people to like a YouTube channel, but having a website where people can sign up, check you out, do everything, works really nicely. So Substack is another one of those, and Substack is more for writing, but they have a lot of really, really cool embed features for podcasts. So like Spotify embed features, SoundCloud, I think works really well with it. Basically, you can embed audio in a Substack newsletter. It's a newsletter tool, right? But maybe that's how you distribute a private podcast, right? Or a private live stream. You have people sign up. You can actually do payment through Substack as well. So you can charge people. Maybe it's a private live stream that you have to pay 50 cents a month for, right? Or $1 a month for, something like that. Or maybe you have a free tier and you have a second private live stream for paying for paid customers or paid viewers. Anyway, when you're using Substack, it gives you a really, really basic little template to write a simple article or write a simple newsletter. It's a great little tool for that, mostly for writing. But they've made a really, really huge effort to make it really easy to embed your audio files or embed your video files right in your articles and your newsletters. And so if you want a private podcast or you want to distribute your podcast or live stream via email, and it actually like holds everything in a blog kind of style format, so it works as a website kind of, Substack is great. Highly, highly recommend this. And I'll put this in the chat as well too. So I really like, again, like it makes a little basic landing page for you. Let's actually check this out. This is what it gives you. It gives you a little landing page. Let me read it first. And it gives you the little, it gives you a structure, right? For checking stuff out. This is one of their posts, right? Oh my God, this is so cute. I love this. Yeah, super cute. You can click subscribe. Yeehaw, right? A lot of fun. So I know that's for just creating little landing pages, right? Little websites that you can use to push your audience to. Great. There's this one. There's a couple little tools that I think are really nice. Yeah, 40 cents per published minute. help edit podcasts if you want to up the quality a ton, and there's a bunch of things like there. Because for like just audio, sometimes it's really important to make things sound super nice. I've heard a lot of podcasters care about audio, but you're an audiophile if you're a podcaster probably, so it makes sense. But yeah, there's little tools like this. Use Catsup, helps make it easier, but it is paid. I usually just start for free whenever I'm starting something new. So don't know if that's helpful. I'll link it anyway though. Use Catsup. So cool. Now we have all the tools we need. We have a thing, we have a podcast, or we have a live stream up and running on a place that people can visit and people can check out, right? Maybe that's a YouTube channel, maybe that's a Twitch channel, maybe that's a landing page, maybe that's a Spotify channel, whatever the heck it is, you have a place you can push people to, right? Now, how do you make it popular? And how do you like make it valuable for audience members? I did my live stream initially just because I thought it was fun. Now I'm trying to make it a full-time thing. You can find sponsor, like I have sponsors. I'm trying to find more sponsors right now. Happy to talk about sponsorship. I'm a little bit different though. I understand the structure, but my niche is a little bit weird, so it's going to be different. But there are ways to monetize, content like that. But great, you have it up and running. It's there. It exists. How do we get it to people, right? How do we use it to build an audience? And once you build an audience, you can sell products. You can, monetize the audience. You can, charge for specific things. You can build products specifically for your audience. Whatever. Who cares? Happy to talk on more of that if anybody has any questions about like how to take a podcast a step further rather than just being content, how to sell products or services or make it a business, right? But the ways that I typically market things, the ways that I really like to market things, and I've done this on previous little presentations before, but I like to find existing communities. That's usually my starting point. Don't run ads, don't do anything complicated like that. Just find existing communities on the internet that care about your stuff. So I'm going to go to Reddit. I'm going to go to Reddit. I'm going to go to Facebook groups. And I'm going to go to Google. I'm going to do a little bit of, just a little bit of searching. So I'm going to go to Reddit. I'm going to search. Let's say my podcast is about, let's say it's about, I don't know, pet care. Let's go with that, right? So I'm going to type in pets, right? Click pets, boom. See what we get. Advice animals, awesome. Pets, awesome. 159,000 members, 9.4 million members. Let's see, r/cats, great. r/pets, PetsComp? PetsComp, PlayStation game, never mind, PlayStation game. So boom, we have like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 r/dogs. Couple of those, right? We have like 4 little communities here. They're all about pets, right? Pets and stuff. And you can put some stuff, we can post there about pet care. Maybe people will be interested, right? But these are all communities on Reddit that are interested in pets. Great. Now let's go to Facebook. Let's search the same thing, pets. See what we can find. Animals in Pittsburgh, great. Maybe these, let's do a little bit less custom. For pets only. Pets, lost dogs, reuniting lost dogs. Oh wow, there's a lot of like rescue. This is so cute. Let's go pet care in that case. Pet care. Pet health advice, pet care services, pets daycare, pet products and accessories, pet care community, pet rats. I love it. All these different things, right? There's a ton of these things. I could probably find like 10 different groups dedicated to pet care, right? Awesome. Now we have like 14. We have 4 here and 10 here. And then I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to say pet care forums. Doctor, pet care forum, beautiful. Pet owners forum, beautiful. Pet care and pet health and pet care information, forums and discussions, amazing. Petguide.com, pet forums to community, boom. We have like another 4, right? So now we have like 18 to 20 communities, big communities with like thousands to even millions of people that are all about pet care or just pets, right? Now, you should post to them. You should say, hey, I'm starting a new podcast and I'm trying to experiment and I would love your advice. Always ask for advice. Don't say, hey, check my thing out, right? Never say that, never link to anything. But post to all these different places and say, hey, I'm starting this new thing. I would love your advice on how to make this the best possible live stream or podcast that I can possibly make it, right? If you ask people for advice, people love giving advice, right? Everybody loves giving advice, especially on Reddit. Everybody on Reddit loves giving advice. They don't like doing things though. So they'll give you advice. You get a ton of feedback. You'll get a bunch of ideas for this kind of for the content that you're creating. And then a little thing that I like to do is you have somebody else, one of your friends, comment below one of the posts and say, hey, this is super cool. Is there any way that I can follow you? Right? They ask to follow you. And then you go back with your original account and you comment, hey, super glad you're interested in following me. Here's the follow link. Here's my Spotify link. Here's my website. Here's my live stream YouTube channel, right? Here's my Twitch channel, whatever. And that way it looks like you're not self-promoting. People are just genuinely asking and you're giving them what they want, right? Wonderful little strategy. And it's free, it's easy to do. And you can post multiple times to all these different communities, right? And you get a ton of feedback. So I highly recommend it for that reason. But yeah, come on, common YouTube saying, if you want money, ask for advice. And you want advice, ask for money. Exactly. Love that. That's one of my favorite sayings in the whole world. So if you want money, ask for advice. Exactly. If you want something to work and you want a partnership or you want a connection or you want a job or you want an internship, you want anything, ask for advice and be very wholesome about it. And people end up giving you the opportunities. I live by that mantra. I absolutely live by that mantra. So yeah, any questions on this, on the structure, on the marketing side of things? Happy to go deeper into marketing or tool sets or anything. That's the general structure though. It's hard. You just gotta kind of start it and work from there. I wish I could, help you start it right now, but it's just like making content is just something you gotta try.
I don't have a question, but I just want to interject there, Max. I know it's kind of just a little afterthought there, saying that making content is just something that you kind of have to try. That is so true. It is so true. You just have to get in there and get your feet wet. So it's great advice. So I see there's a couple more questions. What do you do if you get banned from those communities for self-promoting? Stop self-promoting, right? What do you do?
Yeah.
What advice do you have?
That's going to happen. I would actually, if you have a really important Reddit account that you don't want, like if you have a really important Facebook account or a really important Reddit account that you don't want anything to happen with, maybe make a new one, because you're going to get banned from some communities. It's just how it's going to happen. My strategy with the strategy that I've used, it's never failed me yet. Mm-hmm. As long as you're careful as heck with it. You don't want anything in your post to seem self-promoting.
Yep.
And then somebody comments later, not immediately after the thing is posted, hey, I'm super interested. And then you comment as well, right? That has not failed me yet, but it's going to happen a few times, especially in Facebook groups. Facebook groups are really brutal. And if you're not careful at all on Reddit, like if you're even a little bit not careful, you're going to get screwed on Reddit. So
and, yeah, can I give a little advice there too? One thing that I've noticed, it's about the surveys. Don't ever put a survey in any platform. Always send them to some sort of intermediary, like a website. Just send them to a Google site and then put the survey there, and you're fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and dropping links on Reddit, like you can drop some links in Facebook groups and people don't care too much. Forums, you got to be a little bit careful. You have to kind of have to suss out and kind of see what people are doing, because it's always unique for each forum. Mm-hmm. But Reddit, if you put any link in any post, they will ban you immediately. So you have to do the comment thing. It has to happen on Reddit if you're going to do there. But I've gotten like 30 signups for a new product in like a day because I did it right, and we did that little kind of strategy, right? Sometimes it's easier to do an interview or a conversation with a co-host rather than trying to do a solo performance. Great point, Martin. Absolutely. I do everything solo just because, like, I don't know. I don't know why I ended up doing things solo. I think it works way, way better if you have somebody to riff-raff off of and you have like a partner. I think it works way, way better. But I just like doing it solo. It's a lot of fun for me. It works for the Twitch format. Yeah, I think whatever works for you, and it shouldn't be, too difficult. I think if I go to Restream, I go to, what is it? Chat app monitor. Go live, enter live studio. Here we go. If I enter the live studio, then I can block. I'm going to block it for right now. Camera partition 9. Yes. If I click over to here, usually I believe it would give me like multiple people, right? There's all these different formats down below where I can bring multiple people in, or I can bring multiple guests in, or whatever, right? that works really nicely. So I like combo streams. I've been a guest on plenty of combo streams. With podcasts, it's kind of expected, right? It's about the guests. It's about the people you bring on and the conversations you have with those people. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm unique in that sense. I highly suggest you find a co-host. Not necessary, but it ends up being a little bit more fun for you, I think. So, not that I don't have fun. I have a blast on my live show. Great questions. I love it. Any other questions?
I have a question, Max. How do you deal with let me just turn on my camera. How do you deal with this is, I guess, is more like a general advice, but how do you deal with like the rejection of people not liking your product and having to pivot?
Great question. Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, the only people that like checked out my live stream were my mom and my dad, and even they wouldn't watch sometimes because I would go for like 3 hours, right? The first people to check out your thing are going to be your friends, your parents, your family, like whoever, like, you know, just your circle, right? Or your coworkers. I don't know. The way that I get around like getting too attached to an idea in general, and this goes like broadly to all sorts of different forms of entrepreneurship, the way that I get less attached and I prevent like that from like falling in love with an idea and getting really upset when something doesn't go right is I just do it as quick as humanly possible. And that's why I like things like podcastpage.io. That's why I like things like Transistor or Anchor, or Restream. They just help you get up and running right now, test it out, you have the idea, go with it. If it doesn't work, you lost a week. Oh well, but you learned a ton, right? Rather than like you spent a month building this thing up and everything decided to go wrong. That's my kind of perspective. That kind of half answers your question. You are going to make something that's awesome if you give it enough time. It's going to suck in the beginning. It's always going to suck in the beginning. People are going to hate it in the beginning. It's just going to be lame. But if you keep with it and you listen to feedback and you're just like, okay, that's a good idea. I could do that this way. If you stick with it, it's going to end up being great. I can 100% guarantee you that. So it's not like a coping mechanism. It's just there's a period of suck in the beginning. But great question.
Thank you, Max. Max, did you have another question, or other Max? Max Drew, did you have a question?
Oh yeah. Hey, other Max. Like the name shout out. I guess so. I had a question as far as when you were first starting out with podcasts. I guess it's a two-part question. When you were first starting out with podcasting and listening to your voice on camera, how early on, how did you change the way you dilate your voice? Did you change how you talked? Like, did you first hate your voice? Like, how do you feel about that?
I hated my voice until probably like 6-ish months ago. Like it was a year into like consistently live streaming, like for hours, that I like stopped hating my voice. And even when like other people play my live stream when I'm around, they're like, oh, this is cool. Like when I'm still like, no, turn it off. Like it's terrible, right? I've gotten over listening to my own voice just because I've just had it in my face for long enough. Everybody hates their own voice. It is literally just like a natural weird thing because it sounds different to you forever than it sounds to anybody else, right? Everybody thinks you sound different than you sound to yourself. It's just the nature of the kind of suck in the beginning, right? It doesn't mean you're doing bad though. Just understand like you're only going to get accurate feedback from other people, not yourself. Because yourself is going to pick apart every little thing. It's going to hate certain different little things. It's going to love certain different little things. You're going to fall in love with ideas. You're going to hate others, but it's not accurate, right? Because that's not your audience. You're not your audience. Ideally, you should like what you're doing, right? You should enjoy what you're putting out, of course. But the best feedback is going to come from other people. You're always going to hate how it sounds. It's just kind of how we're wired. Yeah, I think that was one of your questions. What was your other question, or did I not?
No, that answers it great. But I guess so. Then something else I just thought about you're talking about the difference between live streaming and podcasting. Do you feel that having the opportunity with podcasting to go back and listen to it before putting it out, do you think that's better? Or do you think that kind of actually kills the creative process in the sense of like, do you feel like you put out better content live streaming just because it flows naturally?
Yeah, so for me personally, it totally depends on the individual, and that's a lame answer, but it totally depends on the individual. I love live streaming because everything that I do, even videos that I would make in the past, I hated scripting them. I hated doing all of that. Some people I know like thrive on a script. They are incredible and they make some of the best stuff I've ever seen. They like storyboard it and they make these beautiful creations. I'm just bad at that. I don't know. That's just me. I'm just bad at that. And you usually can kind of tell once you practice on video, like a couple of times, make a few videos, what works for you. Try a scripted one, try an unscripted one. Listen to both of them. They're both going to suck, but one's going to suck a little bit less. Go with the one that sucks a little bit less. Yeah. So for me, I love the live format. Absolutely adore it. I hate listening back and editing things. I did that for a long time. I did videos like my first Entrepreneur, the show, started as a series of like 50 videos that I did like twice a week. It was exhausting. It's a lot of editing, but I liked it a lot more when I could just goof, because that's just my personality. I enjoy just messing around, being casual, being all over the place. I think it works for me. General answer again, but I think there's benefits to both. I think you can make a higher quality product for sure with podcasting and listening back and editing it and making it really closely fit to what you need. But I think you can create a lot more content and possibly answer more questions and be a little bit more educational and interactive with the live stream, right? Pros and cons. So general answer. I kind of just gave you like the most hand wavy thing I've ever seen, but it depends on what you enjoy personally more. I don't think there's like a better way to do it.
Cool. Thanks, Max. Appreciate it.
Thank you for the question. Yeah. Kelsey says, explain once more how you avoid being banned when you're asking for advice in order to get people to check out your podcast / live stream. I'm guessing wondering how to know where to look without the potential of getting banned for self-promoting. Yes. So let me show you an example. Let me share my screen again, and I'll show you an example. I didn't show one last time, and it's a good idea to show one. So I'm going to go to Reddit. Reddit is the most likely place you're going to get banned or suspended or anything else like that. Look at my profile, posts. What was one of my posts that did well recently? This did really well. That wasn't. Oh wait, was it? No, maybe it wasn't. I don't think it was that one. This one. This is a post I did a long time. It's like 6 months ago. Man, geez, time is flying. I hate that. Anyway, this is a Reddit post that I made, and I did this poorly. You can make this better. You could be a lot more careful than I was on this. Let me pull up the chat so I don't miss anything. What I said was, I asked a question, right? It was a Minecraft co-working space that I was building, a very silly little idea, just as kind of a goofy experiment on my live stream, right? And it worked. We got a bunch of people to sign up via this post. I talked about it. This is the reason that I'm building it. I started thinking, what if there was a way to make a virtual co-working space? So it was an experiment. I'm building a Minecraft server with a few friends to tie this all over. Got a little sign up form going. Let me know if you're interested in joining the experiment. Don't say this. This was a stupid move on my part. I've got a little sign up form going. I should have just asked, what do you think? Is there anything that I could improve upon or anything that I could include in this Minecraft server to maybe fit the need, right? Ask for advice. Don't say jack about what you're doing. And if you have a little sign up form going, terrible idea. I think the only reason this didn't get kicked down is because a couple of people, my friends, supported it early on, so the community didn't care too much. But then down below, like instead of saying this, you say something like, I would love advice. What do you think? Is there anything I can include? Is there anything I shouldn't include? Right? Ask for advice. Don't say anything about what you're doing or any like link. And then down here, I had one of my friends comment, love this idea. What's the IP? The IP address for the server, right? The Minecraft server. And I said, the IP might change a little bit. So here's the sign up form. Definitely let me know if you have any questions, right? Great. I upvoted my own thing. They upvoted it. Great. The sign up form goes to my landing page, right? It goes to this little landing page about a Minecraft co-working space. Minecraft co-working, yay, right? I never played Minecraft, but I want to join. What do I need? You'll need a Minecraft account to start, but you can sign up here, right? Just do that. Very subtly say, super glad you're interested. Have some of your friends comment. Super glad you're interested. Here's the thing, right? And then you link to it, right? But don't say anything about any sign up form or any place that they have to go or do or like join you or anything other than give you advice and tell you what to do. Then you're going to do well and you're not going to get banned. It's very, very unlikely that you're going to get banned. But also, like, each community has its own rules, right? When you're going into a Facebook group, read the rules. When you're going into a Reddit group or a subreddit, read the rules. Everybody cares and has like their own different rules for different things. I have been kicked off of Facebook groups so fast because I did the same thing that I did on other Facebook groups that did really, really well. But this one Facebook group happened to hate it when people ask for advice. Or like frame the question the way that I did, right? With an image. So I hope that answers your question a little bit better, Kelsey. It's a great, great question. And I'm glad I went over that. Yeah, you just got to be careful and kind of customize it to each individual community. But make sure you're not self-promoting. Make sure you're not saying anything about a place that people can go to sign up for a thing. You'll be burned at the stake. It is unbelievable. People are savage on the internet. But yeah, it works otherwise. So if you're nice and careful. Cool.
Just adding on to that, Max. If you've used Reddit, you do know how fickle of a place that Reddit can be. You can say one thing that will get you like a ton of upvotes, and you can say the exact same thing 20 minutes later, and you'll just get destroyed for it.
It's a very, very crazy little community. Everybody is very aggressive there in both directions. Yeah. So I'm not an avid Reddit user, but I have had my fair share of crazy Reddit experiences. So I've tried running ads on Reddit. And boy, that is tough. People on Reddit just hate ads automatically. So yeah, very interesting community.
Reddit is a strange place.
Hey, Max, I got a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
So, social media is kind of a hungry beast, and you could invest just massive amounts of time doing these things, and it could just consume your life. How do you avoid burnout?
Super good question. If you're making content in general, live streaming is nice because you do it at a certain time, you get on for a certain period of time, and you just exist there, right? Great. With podcasting, you have to schedule that ahead of time. The way that I do all of my content is I schedule it, right? With live streams, I just have to be in a certain place at a certain time. That's fine. No big deal. With every other bit of content that I'm putting out, so if I'm putting it on LinkedIn, if I'm sending out a tweet, if I'm making a video, if I'm doing any of this stuff, you batch it. That works really, really well for me. So every Sunday, I block off 2 hours every Sunday or every Monday, right? To plan out the posts or the topics or as much as I possibly can ahead of time for the rest of the week. And then I do that next Sunday. So that way, every time I wake up and I need to post something, it's there. I copy paste, done, great, good for the day, right? And it's not consuming my entire week, and I'm not spending an hour per day figuring stuff out, getting back into the mindset, all that kind of stuff.
Right, because that takes time, right? It takes time to actually get your
time.
brain back into it. Yeah.
It's exhausting. So yeah, batching works really well for me. I would do the same thing with podcasts. I know people that'll take a month off, and they'll spend like 3 straight days just like recording podcasts, and they're done. They send them off to be edited. They're just ready to go, and they have them posted on a schedule. That every single content producer I know does that. They batch things ahead of time because otherwise it just sucks up your life.
Yep.
So, super good question though.
Hey, my second question is, live streaming can be a rather intimidating thing. I mean, it's like a high wire act, right? What you're doing is live for everybody to see, and if you screw up, that's out there too. So it can be quite frightening, quite intimidating. How did you deal with that?
Yeah, totally. I deliberately framed my content like this is an experiment, and I still frame it like this is an experiment. I'm not an expert. I don't know what I'm doing, but we're going to figure it out together. That is the entire basis for my live stream. So I'm kind of cheating my way out of that, right? I've designed it so it doesn't matter if I mess up, it's still fun. We still learn something, right? The best thing that I can say is if what you're doing is really important, it's really important to your brand to make sure people see you and know what you're doing, right? If your professionalism and your understanding of a certain topic is super, super critically important to the show, do it beforehand, right? Spend the hour and a half beforehand walking through the entire thing, walking through your entire presentation, film it beforehand. I don't know. It's a hard question for me to answer because I designed everything so I don't have to care. And I think it's a great structure. I think Learn With Me is a great structure that everybody should do. Just mess around and learn stuff because you still learn a ton just by experimenting.
And the key is you are learning and you get better as you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Hardik. Thank you for coming on. It's good to see you here. But it's a friend of mine that popped on from LinkedIn. Yeah. But yeah, I designed it that way. That's great. But I think prep is always good. I prep for a lot of my larger live streams that are more important. You walk through the whole process, so you're totally comfortable beforehand.
Practice, right?
Yeah, super cool. Great questions. It's awesome.
All right. I have another question. Speaking on that same note, how do you feel about so basically faux live streaming? So record to live. You record something ahead of time and then you premiere it as if it is a live stream. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, good question. It's a little niche. Well, actually, it's not that niche. It's actually pretty common. in terms of what I've seen. So what he's talking about is like some people will record things beforehand. Like I record this beforehand, right? Like let's say I record this lecture. This lecture is recorded. I then post it as like a live webinar, and I let people chat amongst themselves in a separate chat room, but I don't actually address any of the questions that are happening, right? It's just recorded content that's filmed live, right? That makes sense for certain things. Like if you have like a big event around like a premiere, right? A premiere of a new thing that you're doing, or a premiere of a new like movie or new production or new something awesome, a new tool, right? And that makes sense. And I think having like being in the chat box and interacting with people as you go is always a good idea. I think if you're doing something live, you should probably be there in some form, right? You don't have to be on like live interacting with people on the video, but at least live interact in the chat room, if there is one. I understand the concept if it's just like a premiere of something really, really cool, but if you're otherwise, it feels like kind of like it's faking it. I don't know. The live webinars, I've seen a ton of them where somebody will film something, pretend it's live just to make it more engaging as like a sales funnel. That gets scummy. Just be careful with that. Don't use it. Don't misuse it.
I was going to say, just to interject one thing too, keep putting things in, but I think that when if you're disingenuous, if there's the feeling of saying that you're live, I don't like it. But then like live to tape doesn't bother me if it's just like, hey, we recorded something and we're putting it, So I think it's all about the framing personally. Exactly.
Yeah. It depends on what the goal is. If the goal is to have that live interaction, don't fake that. You should be there for the live interaction. That's the benefit of it being live. But if it's live recorded just so people can view it afterwards, great, awesome. Yeah. But I think filming something ahead of time and releasing it all at once is great for like a launch. I think live premieres like that are cool for launches, but still be there in some form, right? It's always helpful.
Great advice. Great
So
we're just about out of time here. I want to make sure that we don't have any other questions from the audience before I hand it back over to Max to take us away.
Yeah. Any questions? Any last minute questions?
And Stephen, we're good?
I think we're good. I didn't see any
All
other
right,
questions
Max.
inside chat. Thank you, Max. Take it away.
Thank you. Yeah, take it away. If you want to take us out and say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah, totally. So if anybody has any questions for me, I'll leave like my little website link. I'm accessible. My Twitch, my YouTube, my Instagram. I'm like on my phone like 6 hours a day. You can message me on Instagram anytime if you have any further questions, or email me. It should be under the little about me contact form. Would love to help anybody build anything that they're trying to build. This is what I do all day, and I would love to be a part of what you're trying to kick butt with. So this is a lot of fun. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Max. And Martin, I think that answered your question about, it sounds like he does get sucked in. A lot of his life is spent online and on his phone and things like this, but bye everyone. Thank you so much. And thank you, Max. We'll see everybody at the next workshop. Look for the recording. Don't forget to fill out the survey link, and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Yep.
Take care.
The survey link is going to be emailed to everybody after this workshop.
Oh, okay, great. Thanks. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Good